Peerless Hotel. Established in 1900, what started as a boarding house, a lodging for railroad workers, and even a brief stint as a barbershop, the Peerless grew to become one of the oldest and most beloved historic buildings in Ashland, Oregon. Now, it continues to serve as a place to run away and reside to take in a few Shakespearean shows. But also, the Peerless provides the possibility of becoming visited by its forever residents. What peers behind the corners of the Peerless? What bumps and creaks and cracks and rolls around in the day and night? Time to check in, for curiosity's sake, shall we? Welcome to the Peerless Hotel. Enjoy your stay. I ventured out to my old college town in Ashland, Oregon, to check in and to check out one of the most haunting hotels with stories of a paranormal past. Most people wouldn't take a vacation to a haunted hotel in Southern Oregon and not attend the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. I didn't come for Ashland's thespian charm or to drink its lucky lithia water. Instead, I came to explore whatever lies beyond the thin veil of the Peerless. When you arrive to the Peerless Hotel, it's self-check-in. No staff on site, despite the few folks that come in to clean and freshen up the rooms for the next round of guests. The hotel is lusciously littered with history, trinkets, and tales of the past that once ran through these halls. A past that continues to linger longingly to this very day. Whimsy peeks behind every nook and cranny of this 19th century abode. So it makes sense that this historic little building sits in Southern Oregon of all places. The town itself is full of much whimsy. But with whimsical tales also comes haunting stories. So what stories haunt the Peerless? And what if they aren't just tall tales? What if it's all real? The only way to find out is to make yourself at home. When I arrived, I'd made myself cozy. or as cozy as one can make themselves in a haunted hotel. I was completely transfixed on the interior designs of this extravagant and charming little hotel. But I must admit, I was also looking over my shoulder to every little noise that filled the room. I tried telling myself, it's just an old building. But some things I experienced during my stay held happenings I didn't fully know how to put into words. Experiences that made the sidewalk look much more comfortable.
Oh, it's gonna be a long weekend.
My first night at the Peerless Hotel, I ran away from the ghosts for a moment just to be amongst the living at the Peerless restaurant and bar. It was marvelous. I helped myself to some of the best fish of my life, alongside a few whiskey drinks to give myself some liquid courage to tackle a night of ghostly explorations. Not too much, just enough to stay in my own bed for the night. When I returned to my room, tipsy and ready to take on whatever spirits linger the hotel, I decided the best way for me to relax into the night would be to take a bath in the room's jacuzzi tub. I haven't taken a bath like that in quite some time, but utilizing the jets and bubbles and bath salts provided by the Peerless put my fear-ridden body at ease. But alas, the easy feeling was fleeting, and the fear doth return once again. Once under the covers, I couldn't help but question every crack and creak I heard. Again, the building is old. Things can be explained away. But I am a firm believer in ghosts, and I just had this hair-raising feeling I was not alone in this room.
Hello?
I heard stories that these ghosts that roamed the Peerless were nothing to be afraid of, and I kept trying to remind myself this anytime I felt spooked.
Oh, God.
Eventually, I was able to drift off and snooze until my 3 a.m. alarm woke me up to explore the haunting halls. However, my alarm wasn't the one to wake me.
Someone just sat on my bed. Someone sat on the foot of my bed.
What I can only describe as someone small
Like someone
woke
small.
me up with a courtesy call by sitting at the foot of my bed. But when I turned to slowly look and see what it was, I felt the small little someone hop off my bed.
Okay. We are gonna sleep with the lights on all night. Or just keep the lights on and don't sleep. Oh my God, that's scared the shit out of me. Okay.
It was 2:58 a.m.
More to come.
So it was time to wander like one of the ghosts. These were my findings. I'll let the footage speak for itself. It was a sleepless night at the Peerless Hotel. After I had returned to my room, full of adrenaline over everything that I felt, I could not get myself back to sleep. I laid awake with many questions. I pondered these questions over several cups of coffee. Look at that house in front of my bed. Was it a ghost playing tricks on my soul? Was it a guest? Was this just an old building? When left with many questions, you must ask many more to find some answers. So I reached out and was lucky enough to sit down and chat with the previous hotel manager, Michael Biggs.
I worked there for quite a long time. I was the hotel manager, innkeeper from 2007 till COVID, till 2020.
Wow.
And so I was there a while. I don't know how many people who've been in that building more than me. I averaged 50 to 60 hours a week in that building for 51 weeks a year for 12 years or whatever.
So how does one land a role as the manager of the Peerless Hotel?
Well, the owner, Chrissy Barnett, I ran the Peerless restaurant for about 4 years, and then kind of got burned out of the business and left it for a while. And then the innkeeper job became available, and I was looking for work. And so, yeah, I long story short, it was a pivot rather than, the lengthy nighttime hours. It didn't really fit my lifestyle of the restaurant. I went to there. I come from restaurant management. Hadn't ever done innkeeper work before, but hospitality is hospitality, and it just it was a good fit for a long time.
That's awesome. Did you enjoy your role as the manager at Peerless?
Yeah, I had a lot of great people. We had, Ashland, especially pre-COVID, was pretty vibrant with the Shakespeare crowd. Had the same people come back every year. You get to know them, get to know what they like, and I'm pretty meticulous, so I could, I did everything there, from cook breakfast and 5 days a week all the way through check-in. So I was there from 7 in the morning until 7 at night, 5 or 6 days a week. So.
Wow. So Peerless was
it's
like
a small place. It's just 6 rooms. So our crew was tiny. We ballooned to 3 people in the summertime, but I counted for 2 because I worked, about 12 hours a day. Most days, 10 to 12.
Wow. So you practically lived there, working that many hours.
Yeah, especially in the wintertime, when Ashland's very seasonal, and the winter hours were less, but I would be 90% of the crew, so I would be there from 8 in the morning until 6 at night or whatever, and a lot of times alone, an awful lot of time alone there in the wintertime, and that's where I don't disbelieve that there is a ghost. I just think it's an incredibly rude ghost, because in my hundreds of hours in there, he, she, it, or they were never very friendly.
I see. So not a disdain for ghosts, but just if there is a ghost in the Peerless, you're upset that it never showed itself.
Yeah, it's an incredibly rude ghost if it is, because it could have said hello at some point. I'm not that scary. I didn't realize I was ghosts were afraid of me, but yeah.
You seem like a lovely guy. I wouldn't be afraid of you.
Yeah, I'm adorable. I can't imagine why anybody wouldn't want to hang out with me. As far as that, I just there were stories that were written. Only thing I know about them is what was written. As far as the mark, and things like that. That would be where the owner, Chrissy, who had that experience. Basically, from what I recall of the story, and it wasn't really ever talked about much, but that when they were doing the renovation, they found those marbles in either the walls or in one of the rooms. They completely gutted it. It wasn't just a a redo. It was basically a gutted building and then rebuilt. Everything inside that old shell is new. New timber, new wood, new walls, new everything had to be. It hadn't been used for decades. So it was so they found those marbles, but then they heard them rolling down the hallway mysteriously.
What I experienced, I genuinely believe, could be none other than the little ghost girl that's been haunting the Peerless since 1910. Amelia. Amelia is just one of many characters that possibly roam the Peerless Hotel. However, she is definitely the most popular and speculated about here. To be honest, I should have expected Amelia's visit. I did, after all, bring a bag of marbles with me to shoot for this documentary, so it's no wonder that she appeared to me. She probably just wanted to play. Despite being dead, she brings the place to life, much like the folks who continue to restore and guests that run away to visit, through curiosity and a sense of play. Very fitting for a town like Ashland, Oregon. The Peerless Hotel, while haunting, is a must-see historic site here in Oregon that has earned its rightful place in the National Register of Historic Places Worthy of Preservation. This award-winning hotel is a charming little hub for creative connection and story in Ashland. After more than a century of life, it continues to live large and stand tall for such a little place to play and stay. So come through. Pack your bags. Book yourself a room, and who knows, maybe you yourself might find life that lived once before you through these haunting halls and regal rooms. Listen for the cracks and creaks that call for you.
Thank you.
And be sure to tell Amelia I said hello. Amelia's got a lot to say. Amelia, hope you enjoy your stay. Want you to come and play with Amelia's marbles rolling round Peerless today. Welcome to the Peerless Hotel. Enjoy your stay.